Because it's impersonal.
That's impersonal.
Yeah, it's impersonal.
Okay, got it.
And you're doing it out of the kindness of your heart. You're not doing it for selfish reasons.
Exactly.
When you have a friend or a close one and you do for them, you know, because you get immediate emotional benefit from helping them, you know, and then there's a return, you know, there's an immediate return. But if you help someone that you don't know what's going to happen to them, but you just want to help them, then the return is greater. You don't see it necessarily, so the act is greater, you know, because it's impersonal, you know. One of the key things to service is that, and what I want to get across to the class today is that he goes on to say in this thing, in the lecture, that service was a couple of things. Service, by giving service, it says here, serve, and the mighty power of Kundalini will rise in a natural, unforced fashion and open the chakra doors in the higher body. And that's what we've been talking about for weeks, because through this service, you burn up the negative karma within the auric fields, and you burn up the negative the negative obstruction in the nadis, and you have a free flow of energy within the nadis, which allows you to move that Kundalini up the spine in a natural way. And when we look back through history, we see that the monks, very spiritual people, the nuns, we hear about them doing all these miracles, you know, and the Buddhist monks, the Hindu monks, and one of the reasons is, and when you go into detail and study these things, you know, they spend 10, 20, 30 years in service. They give up all their possessions and they serve. You know, now that's the extreme. Now, I'm not saying go and give up all your possessions, don't. But what I am saying is that the only thing you have to do is be of service to people around you, and you would naturally have this power rise up within you in a natural way. Yeah.
He mentioned Francis de Assisi and the help he did for animals. So in this case, you don't necessarily have to help humans. You can also be of service to the planet or to animals, and that will be the same.
Plant life, animals, you know, because all of those are intelligent beings. You know, they may not have the level of intelligence that humans have, but they still are intelligent beings. They're on a pathway. They still on the pathway of evolution. So you know, this is something, the negative type attitude or the negative type energy that we built up on this earth is the thing that's holding us down. It's the thing that's not allowing us to soar or operate from the higher chakras. So one of the things that we need to learn to do is to demonstrate things like service and love, you know, more, because I'm talking about impersonal love and impersonal service too. Because what would happen, these are natural fires that will burn up negative energy. You know, these acts will burn up. You know, I mean, they're natural fire. They burn up negative vibrations within the auric body. So if we practice this, that's what happens. Naturally, if you, like the diagram I gave you here on the back, this is the lower part of the diagram represents the negative auric energies within the body. And these organ energies is our mental makeup. It's our mental makeup. And what happens is, if we can imagine, let's say the base chakra, where Kundalini is, Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness for the soul, right? You have the sex chakra. You have the solar plexus chakra. What happens is this Kundalini, if a portion of the Kundalini, when it goes into because this Shakti power, the Shakti consciousness, goes into this state of Kundalini, right, which is the 3.5 knot. A percentage of this Kundalini goes out into the nadis, what you can call the nerve ganglions. And what it does, it travels in front of the body. And that's where we have our personality at. And it's in the front of the body, that brings about all this desire and negativity. So one of the things we have to do is use this type of energy of service and love and bravery to actually burn up this negative energy. And what happens through our acts of kindness and our acts of love and bravery, we will knock out the blockage, and we'll gain control over this Kundalini, and this Kundalini will naturally fall back down, and we can enter it in the back of the body through Shushana. And then we can experience the higher states of consciousness, because the front of the body is the negative, is the negative type energy, and the back of the body is a positive type energy, or the more spiritual type energy. So in fact, the black musician, what he does, he don't necessarily raise the Kundalini through the spine. He raised the Kundalini in front of the body, so that he can enhance those traits of hate and malice, and jealousy, and that's his goal. He wants to enhance those traits. He wants to suck them dry of everything he can take them for. So he empower those type of energy formations. But the more spiritual people, they take it and they push it through the spine, through Shushana, through the Brahmanati. Yeah.
When you say they raise it to the front, what channel is it? Is that like a nadi?
Those are the nadis, yeah.
A nadi.
The nadis, and then what they do, they fire the chakras, the front part of the chakras. If you can imagine the chakras, I think I told you all this.
Yeah.
Let's say this is the back. This is the front, and this is the back.
In the middle is the pendulum?
Yeah.
Right now?
And they come and they bring it in front of the body, and they charge the front, because the negative type energy is there. And they don't necessarily go through the back. See, and the proper way is to go to the back and open it this way.
So Shuna would be the middle?
Yeah,
where the
go
pendulum
up,
is?
yeah, go up through Shushana. Right? And open the chakra in the back. They don't necessarily do that.
That's what the knot is. That's what the knot is.
What? This is the nadi. This is the Shushana nadi. but you have the nadis going to the front too.
And the back.
So you have a total of 242,000 nadis. Right? Yeah.
So when we're doing the practice of the presence and we're pushing out light into, like, say, the heart center, which we visualize in the front, that's different than pushing energy up the front, clearly up the front of the body. Like how Saul says, well, directionally to me, it's in the same place. But.
Well, so you notice I didn't mention the heart center here, right?
Well, right. Okay.
It's a higher chakra.
Mm-hmm.
The heart center is what? The center that you do what?
Manifest.
You pass energy through. That's where you manifest things. That's where you give meaning to things. Right? So, or direction. So, I'm not mentioning that. We're just talking about the lower chakra.
So a black magician can't go higher than.
He can. Well, I'm not going to go into that.
Okay.
He can. But like I said, the black magician mostly focus on these three and down, because that's where you get his greatest power from. That's where you get his greatest power from. So I want to bring this to you because, and by doing this, this is the way, and a lot of schools do this. If you go back and read the teachings, and you read the stories of some of the monks or swamis or adepts or yogis, you'll notice that their master made them wait 20, 30 years before giving them even some of the basic knowledge that I'm giving you. You know, you will notice, and they had to go through trial and error, and they had to prepare themselves and cleanse the aura or the nadis or whatever. In order to, and they had to do this through what? Service, love, bravery. They had all these steps they had to go through, and that's what it was all about, to bring about a cleansing of their auric body, so that they can gain control over their mind and move these energies, in a natural way, without all the obstruction. So that's what this is about. So, of course, Dr. King, he was talking to an audience some 40, 50 years ago, and it was mostly American people or English people, and they couldn't get into the deeper teachings, because a lot of them they really didn't know what nadis and all Sushumna and all this stuff was. Although he mentioned it in this tape, but I don't think a lot of them grasped what he was talking about until later on. Another thing he talks about in here, he talks about the hall of self-judgment. Did we go over that before?
A bit. We've done a little bit.
Yeah. But what he goes into, he talks about this hall of self-judgment. The hall of self-judgment is after death, you go through a hall of self-judgment where you judge yourself. There's no giant God with some long beard and some tribunals judging you. You judge yourself. You go into, you're guided into a meditative state by your higher self, and you go into judging, putting limitations upon yourself for your next life. Okay, so there's no judge and jury.
And you go through that like with your past memories of your last life and your personality and all that?
Yeah, well, your higher self, I don't know if you caught it when he was talking about the higher self. He said, them, right? They, because your higher self is more than one person. So, and it's no one judging you. You judge yourself. You place the limitations upon yourself.
Our higher aspects of our soul.
Because your higher self is what?
The three aspects above the fourth?
Is what? Is an aspect of what?
Spirit.
Their spirit. And what is spirit?
aspect of the absolute?
God. So you, your higher self, place limitations on your forward movement based on what you did for the world. You know, based on what you did for all creation. So it's the amount of service and love and bravery, you know, and enlightenment that you give to the world would judge you. So you judge yourself. No one judging you. So that's what the hall of self-judgment is.
Wait, so
And you go through this hall of self-judgment, and you place yourself in the on the correct astral plane that you belong on, to live a life there on the astral plane for a while, and you judge yourself in order to be reborn. You choose your parents, the country that you want to be born in, the national, the race or whatever. You choose that based on the experience that you need.
But it's like a karma choice. It's not like there's a shelf. I want this.
It's your higher self placing the necessary limitations to attract those things to you that you need. It reconfigures your aura to attract. Because anything that's coming to you, your aura has built up some type of attraction to that. You know, so your aura attracts those limitations that you need, and then the forward movement that you need as well.
Do the things that you're karmically attached to influence that too? For example, like the people around you that you could be with them for a couple lives, that influences the choice also.
Yeah. I mean, it's simple. I mean, my daughter came in, she was telling my wife this morning that she understands why, what you said, a balloon? You was talking about a balloon and a balloon and what?
How it sticks to paper.
How it sticks to paper. And why does it do that?
Because the balloon has a negative charge and the paper has a positive charge, so the balloon sticks to the paper.
See, so that's the same thing with your aura. You have your aura, right? Or your auric body, right? And then you have life. One of them are negative and one is positive. Or it might be vice versa, positive and negative. And you'll attract those things to you.
And then again,
You know?
you got to remember that even the people around you, you might be traveling through life with them for some time.
Yep.
Before you finish up with
Or a
them.
couple lifetimes.
Maybe more.
So the thing is, that's how life is. Your aura configure itself for certain situations where it repels certain things or attracts certain things to you. So it's through what you pick up in life. I mean, the way your higher self deems the experiences you need in life. So that's where the hall of self-judgment comes in at. You know, so what you should do, you should go through life and try to gain as much experience as you can, and do as much good as you can, so that when you judge yourself, you can judge yourself with, with a lot of merits on your side. You know, so you can move forward. Because, later on he goes in this, well, he said it earlier. He met this guy who was deep into yoga and doing all this meditation day after day, and he goes into it on other lectures too. And how was that guy serving the world? He had reached this great elevated state and was able to tap into the all knowledge space, but what did he do with the knowledge after that? He just kept tapping into it for himself and not necessarily helping the world. So he told him to stop it. He said, you need to stop that and give healing, do something with the knowledge that you have gained. Because if he was able to go into these deep states of meditation, he was able to manipulate mass amount of energy. And he could take this energy and direct it to that hospital that he was speaking about. So, and I mean, you can go into these states, and that doesn't mean that you guarantee this wonderful life, in your next life. He may gain this great knowledge, go into meditation, then his next life, he spend 30 years looking for the truth again. Because why? Because he didn't do the right thing with the knowledge when he had it before. So you can hinder yourself. Any other questions?
So explain again why the higher self is referred to as them or they.
Oh, I didn't go into that. I thought we went into that the other day.
You went to the thing before we go.
Remember what I said? It takes a what? A positive and a negative. Yeah. Right? Right?
Yeah.
So the soul, so the spirit is what?
The positive?
No. The spirit is positive, negative, and neither. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for the spirit to bring about creation, the spirit had to produce two aspects
Okay.
of the soul. And then these two aspects of the soul is really your higher self. So then when the soul moves forward, the soul creates another two aspects, right? In order to move forward.
That's the first, second, and third aspects
Yeah.
of
In
creation.
order to involve.
In
order to
involve itself.
Okay.
Now, we don't necessarily speak about this too much, but Dr. King probably spoke about it the most. In fact, he's the only one I know that spoke about it, really. Madam actually did mention it, but it was vague. She mentioned it, she called it, what did she call it? Homogeneous, heterogeneous, but it was really complicated and vague, but he put it in a very simple way so you can understand it.
And it's that first aspect we go before in the hall of self-judgment?
Yeah. It's the first aspect in what they call the light of the spirit. Right? Everybody knows, right? Because the soul wants to be what?
One with the spirit.
It wants to be bathed in the light of the spirit. The soul wants to be bathed in the light of the spirit, which is a phrase that came from Madam Blavatsky. And was it Madam Blavatsky or Mabel Collins? One of them. All right.
So what?
I think it was Mabel Collins.
It was Mabel Collins.
So if we go through this every single death, what happens during incarnation to wipe our memories of all of that? Like, why is it so much?
That's a karmic limitation.
Yeah, that's the limitation. That's to help you, because this working this state of mind, you're not you don't have enough stamina to withstand the that type of information.
Well, that we reincarnate? That we reincarnate, we're not able to.
Yeah, because imagine. What's a good way to help you understand this? The easiest way is relationships. Let's say you had a girlfriend that you thought that was going to become your wife and all of this, and things just didn't go right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you sitting at home soaking, and you know, just going through all this emotional strain because you thought it was going somewhere and she was thinking something different, right? So that's a lot of emotional weight on you, right?
Right.
So compound that by a factor of 10, right?
Wow.
That you had all those relationships for 10, 20 lives, and you had the knowledge of that, and you had the emotional baggage of that readily available for you in this life. How can you enter another relationship? How can you function?
You won't move forward.
You won't.
I don't think I would be as attracted to her if I knew she was my brother or something.
What?
If I knew she was my brother or cousin in the
No,
past
no,
life.
it's not that. It's not being attracted. It's just having the emotional baggage of that relationship. You know, because now all the relationships you've been into today, it molds and shapes how you're going to deal with the next person that comes into your life.
Yeah, that's right.
So imagine if you had 1,000 relationships that you have to actually judge the person who come to you. You know, it would be zero population around here.
True. Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much emotional baggage.
And all the guilt that you.
All the guilt, yeah. And then think about, let's say if you was one of these people who killed 1,000 people
Right.
in 2 or 3 wars, right? Think about bringing that to your, present life.
Wow.
You know, how would you deal with that? It's too much emotional baggage.
Yeah.
So all that knowledge is compressed and put away. It's deep down into the seeds of what? What do we call it? The seeds of samskara,
Some sorrows.
right? Until we what? Until we can burn them up or release that energy into a positive energy, right? Until we can bring it back up and make it positive. So of course you don't want that type of baggage. Some people might be able to deal with it because either they are too extreme. It's the one or two extreme, and you can take mathematics and figure. Remember we had a number line. We had negative numbers on this side. And you have the positive numbers on this side. Now, some people can handle that in a positive way. And then those are balanced spiritual people, because they say, that's the law and that's what needs to happen. But then other people might handle that in a different way because they're sociopathic people. And they don't care about the feelings of other people. So they'll take that energy and they'll use it to build their corporations, to build their armies, to do whatever they need to do in order to gain more negative energy. So everything is brought to the center where you have no knowledge of any of that.
Even though there's still ways to, it's still in your aura. It's
It's still there.
in your aura, but
And it comes out when it's needed to. It comes out when it's needed to.
Nehemiah, isn't there a way to tap into that, let's say, that record
Yeah.
self-worth, to know it and to transmute it, to work with it?
Yeah.
And accept it and let.
You do that every day. You do that every day as you gain new knowledge. Because like I was telling you the other night, no one gains new knowledge without having something to compare it with. That's one way you accept new knowledge, because you're able to pull on some type of experience of yours or someone else, and then it releases some of this stored information. And then you may have memories or whatever, and then some people can deal with it. Some people can be born and remember. As a child, I remember my past lives. No one had to tell me that that I had lived before. I knew it. I remember looking down on the house that I was being born in. I remember going up to a tall mountain before I was born, knowing that I was getting ready to be born into the family I was born in. So, and then I remember past lives. No one had to tell me that. So some people remember it and some people don't. I had my sister's kids, 2 of her kids remember their past lives. As a 2-3-year-old child, they used to tell us what they did. One of my nephews, he used to tell, he said, yeah, he said, I had plenty of fights in a bar. And I used to knock people out. Look at him, where you come with this stuff? But that's the type of person he grew up to be. And I mean, we didn't know he was going to be this big, tall, 6'4", 6'5" person, because he was really short as a child. But he grew up to be about 6'4", 6'5", and he would knock people out, So I mean, he knew who he was, what he did, and he was extremely intelligent. I mean, in school, he made the best grades in top level classes and everything. But that was his character. He was a warrior type person. So some people remember and some people don't. But the people who can remember, a lot of times they have problems, because I know, like, as he got older, he had emotional problems from having all this knowledge.
If you don't heal it, it
Yeah,
become a heavier burden on you.
The best way to heal it is through knowledge and understanding.
Right.
Place some type of understanding to that. Because if not, you will, I think it will disturb you emotionally.
So as we're going through service and we're burning up these some scars, do they just burn up, or we get these flashes of all of it coming towards us at once and then they dissipate slowly?
Well, they burn up little by little. I mean, they burn up. But when I say burn up, I really mean transmute. You transmute that energy to a higher energy. You're not just burning it up, but you burn it up to reuse it. You understand? So that's what you're doing. But you understand what I'm saying about not having having all that past knowledge, because it can hinder you. A lot of people like to go to these psychic readers and past life, that stuff.
Past life regression.
Yeah, is not true. If they knew, they wouldn't tell you. And that's one of the factors, that's one of the reasons why. You realize the negative karma that they will place on themselves for telling you that, and then you walk out of there with some real past knowledge, because if they told you something about yourself that was true, it's going to resonate within you. It's going to resonate within you. So they won't do that. It's going to resonate within you. When I speak to you, I'm speaking to you from my Kundalini consciousness. In other words, I'm using the power of Kundalini to speak to you. And when I speak truth to you, then I'm speaking to your Kundalini consciousness on through your ears. And if there's something, if I'm saying something that links me to you, because I have picked this up out of your aura and now I'm giving it back to you, then that will resonate with you, and it would affect you emotionally. So no, they cannot. They won't do it, because if they were psychic, they'll see that and they'll know that there's consequences to it, because the energy reflected back to them will not be good. So they won't do that. So don't go to these past life people, because they don't know. The best way to know your past life is through your own investigation. Through your own psychic awareness. And it happens little by little. You go into certain places and you say, I've been here before. I know this place. And little by little, if you go into the silence on that, you might see that, yeah, I've been here. It was, I was here, many, many years ago. You would know that. So don't, don't rely on anyone else, rely on yourself. Because you can do it in a balanced fashion, not in not in some harsh, emotional, type thing. Okay. Any other questions?
What's it exactly is the mechanism that causes you to forget? Is it the new brain that you're being born, the new body you're being born into?
Yourself, right?
No, it's the like I said before, it's the auric configuration. It's your auric configuration. It's the limitations that you place on yourself. So it's you that's doing that. You lock certain things up. People do that in daily lives. They go to they get into a bad car accident, or somebody come in and shoot up 10 other people and they the only one living, and they can't remember. Because the higher self is too much a strain on that person's psyche to remember that. They have to wait until they become stronger. And when they reach that level of strength mentally, then the information, the memory comes back. So that happens here today.
In relation to service and dharma, like my duty to be a student, my duty to be a son, and all those other things. And Dr. King was saying that our service to our family and our friends doesn't count. So how do we balance like our dharma and true service?
It doesn't count in his book. Okay. He was stressing that mostly for those audience. I mean, if you bring a child in this world, it's your responsibility, no one else's. That child shouldn't be getting no money from the state, the government. It's your responsibility to take care of that child. If your parents spend 20, 30 years of their life guiding and helping you, it's your responsibility to give back to them. And that counts, because that says a lot about your character. All right, so it does count. The loved ones in your life, they cherish you and nourish you in many different ways. So you have to give back to them. If you don't, then you're dead on arrival, in my opinion. But I think he was speaking to a lot of the people that was there at that particular time, because a lot of people, they just give to their church, give to their family, and that's it. They don't care enough. They forget about the rest of the world. They forget about all the wars that was going on, all the suffering, all that was doing a big civil rights thing at that time. No one was pushing money that way, so he had to speak in those terms to those type of people, and especially he was in California with the whole Hollywood thing, you got a lot of selfish people over there,
But in terms of, the greatest yoga of now is service. How do we approach someone who says, well, I take care of my family, I go to work, I pay my taxes, everything else doesn't concern me?
That's not good enough, because we are connected to everyone. There's no one that we're not connected to. And if they believe in God, they wouldn't say that. Because it's kind of retarded, in my opinion, to say something like that. If they believe in God, I mean, if they believe in a divine being, that means that all of us are connected. So how can you not take care of your neighbor, whether you know them or not? Because whatever happens to them happens to you. So that's kind of retarded. Yeah.
I guess my question is, what is the line between providing service, generally service, without compensation? Or could you have compensation while providing service, true service?
What do you mean compensation?
Because you know how these people, they have these like private organizations to clear, or like you were talking before, past life regressions or whatnot, but sometimes they take it as a service to help someone else find clarity, but yet being paid for the services.
I personally don't agree with that, so I don't think if you have the truth, you shouldn't charge people. You know, I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I don't charge. I don't believe in that. But I mean, now, if I had to go rent a building and pay the lights and do all those things, yes, you have to collect enough to cover that cost. But for personal gain, no.
It's intention.
Intention.
You
Yeah.
accept donations.
It's intention, yeah.
Right. Donations to help the cause.
Yeah, that's all.
Donations are different than
Than
Than actual
yeah.
payment
Yeah.
for a service. Because this type of service should be given free. And the only real people that's doing it, you know, the people who's doing the real service, they do it for free.
Right.
The people who charge, question them. You know, if they
It's no longer
charge,
charity. If you're gonna charge, that's no longer charity.
and it's not necessarily charity. It's just you don't. The great masters tell you you don't charge for this type of information. It can't be bought. It's given freely. But now you pay for it by your own actions. See, so no one no one will hear this if they didn't deserve it. So that's why so many people are out there and not in here, or not in other places where the knowledge has been given.
But at the same time, like in your example, you have a family and a household to support. You have to get money somehow to do that.
Yeah.
So you're expected to work and you're expected to invest all your time and energy into this and give it away for free.
Yeah.
That's the way it
That's
is,
service.
Klein.
That's service. You work I have my own job. I mean, the staff members of their society, like I told you, for years, they went out and they worked 8-9 hours, and then they came and worked 8-9 hours at their society for 40-some years. Some of them still doing it, 50-some years, I know. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone uses Facebook, but I find that to be a useful thing for sharing information.
Yeah.
Anyone wants to Facebook me, if you want to.
You said something?
No, I was just mentioning because I know there are some big spiritual organizations that they selling books, they have conventions. What do they call them again? I forget the word that they use, but they'll go and then they'll give lectures and everything, but there's a fee, they charge a fee for you to attend those conventions, and a lot of downloads online that people have to purchase and all that.
Well, it might be a fee connected to those things, because I wrote a book, so you have to pay for my book.
Right.
But there's fees connected to that.
right.
There's fees connected to that. Now, if I was trying to sell the book for $300, then question me, but there's fees connected to that. There's nothing wrong with them writing a book or doing
A reasonable
price. And then if they have these conventions, there's nothing wrong with them.
They have to pay for the rental.
Yeah, they have to pay for it. And if it's taking them away from their daily work and whatever, then they have to be compensated for that too. Because they do have a family and kids or whatever. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with compensating them for the time, but not to an extreme. Not to an extreme. Yeah.
But what about like in Dr. King's case when he got in trouble for practically giving away the 9 freedoms?
But
And
that was different.
That's not with the law enforcement.
It's kind of different. I mean, comically, what he was trying to do, he was trying to manipulate karma. He said he got hit by it. because he released the information before it was supposed to be released, and he released it for a cheap price, a real cheap price. so they made that adjustment, but that's kind of different.
So it could be too free then?
I mean, you can, like,
It has to be balanced.
you have to, you have to have a balance there. You have to have a balance. You have to be able to, say, what's being taken away from me. Because sometimes you can be overzealous. My wife accused me of that all the time.
All the time.
Give a little bit too much, do a little bit, so sometimes you have to bring about, you need that person.
Color. Honey, where you going? I'm going to get some ink.
You need that person in your life like her to bring that balance.
That's a good one, right? That's a good thing.
But, it happens. So, but yeah, but that's what service is about. Impersonal service is the highest service. It's the highest, just like impersonal love is the highest love. So any other questions? I don't see. We'll do
Is today's Master King's birthday?
tomorrow, but we celebrated it last night. Today is.
We got the email.
I know, because I was going to do it on Monday, but
So it's tomorrow.
they sent out an email to us saying do it on Saturday. So we do it, and then we do the commemoration for the alien mission today.
Tonight.
Tonight, yeah. There's no other questions, I guess we can close out.
Do the commemoration for that.
It's something with the Their Society, alien mission.